Hello and welcome to another episode of Time to Change. Today I am thrilled to have with me in the studio Erin Corine Johnson. She is the founder of Hola, Magnolia, Identityworks. If you don't know this lady, you need to get connected. I'm pointing the wrong way, that way. Anyway, so today we're gonna in 15 minutes really hit something hard, something that Erin is very passionate about, and we're going to be talking about belonging. You're doing it wrong. So Erin, without any further ado, let's take us through the journey.
Hello. Thank you so much for the invitation, Chason. It's an honor to be here. It's great that there's sun outside. It's definitely
I'm jealous. Good. I'm jealous.
Thank you so much. I'm sending you some sunshine through the phone.
That's awesome.
So yeah, the title is a little bit more, it's a little bit more self-righteous than I would like it to come across to some folks, but it does grab attention, right? You're doing belonging wrong. And it makes people be like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? I smashed the B at the end of DEI. What do you mean I'm doing it wrong? Yeah. And my response to that is, well, let's look at it this way. If DEI is ultimately an outside, an external force on who we are as people, how we interact with each other, the way we show up in the world, and the way we're building organizations around our values, then belonging, which is something that is inherently personal, something that is inherently unique to our own individual identity factors, how can we approach belonging from an outside in perspective when in reality it's an inside out affirmation that only the individual can make? Boom. And that's usually a question that stops people. They're like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Wait, say more, hang on, and then that's when the defense drops and they realize it's not about being an inherently bad person or a company that doesn't know what it's doing, or even like someone who's new to their DEI journey, right? It's rarely then at that point about something personal. It's about, oh, I thought belonging was this. I thought belonging could be influenced by policy. I thought we could talk our way to a deeper and more aligned sense of belonging. And in reality, you as an organization can't talk your way to that. Only the person that has the power to affirm belonging can. And so with that, I'm going to give you my kind of opening conversation phrase for this concept and why I feel so passionately about this. I'm going to give you two. The first around identity and belonging in general, which obviously has become a hot topic in DEI. People want to talk about identity and belonging now that they realize that part of the reason why DEI misses the mark is because it's not taking into account the deep identity factors that make each of us who we are. It's really only talking about how we interact, which is oftentimes a mask that allows us to survive in the world at large, right? And so it's really taking that time to recognize that identity is what draws you to a place. Belonging is what keeps you there. So by that same point, belonging cannot be enforced. It can only be affirmed. And in order for it to be affirmed, you have to give people space to explore the identity factors that make up who they are. This urge to kind of make things right, to make things better for other folks, to kind of almost, I don't want to say prove in a negative way, but to show yourself, show both of your hands and say, no, I'm an ally. No, I'm an ally. And here's all the reasons why. And here are all the things I'm doing to reinforce that I'm an ally, rather than here are all the ways in which I'm centering someone else's version of change, someone else's needs and wants and asks around this. So it ties in really quickly and really closely to what I would like to kind of say is a lot of people's first challenge when it comes to doing this work and decentering, right? To forward. Shout out to Janice Gassimasare, Dr. Janice, who just put out her book, Decentering Whiteness in the Workplace, which I think is a great jump off point for any ally looking for ways in which to decenter even the most seemingly innocuous ways in which white comfort, white, like white guilt is centered in conversations about DEI and conversations around anti-racism, of course, and understanding that if we get the conversations right, then it's not just going to be about anti-racism, it's going to actually trickle into other areas of DEI, as in these initiatives, these conversations, and learning how to have them from a place of altruism and from a place of contribution and pay forward. That's how we're actually going to for everyone. And so, to answer your question, I feel that the jump off point for having this conversation and then later tying it back to why belonging is about the recipient and not about the person that's actually working towards repair is that too many people focus on absolution over abolition. And this is where going to really, really, really kind of shake some people up. They're just like, but of course I want people to think that or understand that or know that or be sure that I am an ally. And it's like, but why? Why is that important to you? Why do you need to treat someone how you want to be treated if the actual problem is that you don't know what the experience is that they have had and whether or not being treated as you want to be treated is even enough to repair, is even enough for them to affirm something, is for them enough to be confident in their identity, for them is that enough for them to differentiate their skills and operate in places in which they've historically been excluded or silenced or completely eliminated, right? So this is something that we really want to have in mind is that true allyship in its core. And that means that the foundation for any real and substantive change through DEI initiatives, conversations, and anything like a strategy, commentary is about prioritizing abolition over absolution. It doesn't matter how sour you are. It doesn't matter what got us to where we are. Like it does from a historical standpoint, it does from a lens of precedent, and it does from a lens of awareness. But when it comes to actual action, right, the putting foot to pavement on how to create safer spaces for minoritized people, starting with people that are marginally excluded by race, then obviously moving into gender, to class, to religion, to ability, seen or unseen, etc. And we can keep going. It's really about understanding that abolition as in completely eradicating, as in completely dismantling the oppressive structure itself is the priority. It's not how sorry you are that that structure exists in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are white, man. We could have talked for hours on this, and and I remember watching your show when you were referring to the book. Say the book name again, because I want people to get this, and I will look up the book and put it in the link when we issue this out to the public. But what's the name of the book again that you mentioned? She was on your show.
This is Decentering Whiteness in the Workplace by Dr. Janice Gassimasare. She is a senior contributor for Forbes. She also has a weekly newsletter called The Pink Elephant. She also hosts a monthly series with another fellow colleague and sis of ours, Jokina Reed of JRE Consulting. So, this conversation is something that has been around forever, but Janice's most recent book dives really deeply into the ways in which even we as racially minoritized people are centering whiteness as a construct, not whiteness as a you, Chason, are the embodiment of whiteness. That can be true, but at the end of the day, it's not about your feelings. It's about the process of working towards whatever version of abolition or whatever stage of abolition we can achieve during our particular lifetime, during the prime of our life's work.
I want to make sure that we put a shout out to the book and to the work that you're doing. But I want to take the last couple minutes and just give you the floor to give people that are championing DEI how to put a fine pen on doing better with belonging.
Yes, thank you so much for that opportunity. So, to give you kind of that surface level entry point, right? If we're thinking about surface, then we want to think about like kind of the next layer and then the deepest layer. Let's start on the surface. Please make an effort to separate diversity, equity, inclusion teaching from identity, belonging, and embodiment work. Personally, I believe DEI is an inherently reactive area in which we are trying to have proactive conversations under reactive constraints, as in the world being actively changing, us being in multiple global conflicts at one time, DEI as an area being under attack or being eliminated left and right from company structures, therefore making any person that is marginalized in any way feeling unsafe. So understanding that part of what's going to push the envelope forward is going to be understanding why identity and belonging is separate from DEI work, right? DEI is inherently external to internal work, as in external, we react to external stimuli by shifting or at least doing the work to shift our paradigms, our examine our biases, decenter, and really figure out how our values interact with the world around us. But identity and belonging work is really focusing on how each individual has something unique to contribute, but understanding that in order to make that contribution, you have to understand what you have within you. And so, what I want people to do, make an effort to do, is to figure out how to have conversations around identity that center the individual and that allow that individual to affirm what it is that draws them to places in which they want to be, or helps them understand that there may be somewhere that doesn't fully resonate, right? So, holding that space, finding ways to create that support system for folks that need to have these conversations in a safe place. And I don't mean safe as in unaccountable, I mean safe as in every single person has deep inner workings that need to be expressed and addressed, and they need to be able to actually talk about what questions they have based on the external stimuli that sparks those DEI conversations in the rooms in which they're in. But then they go to their home or they go into their office or they're in a leadership situation and they need to be able to figure out how to mobilize their privilege or how to actually show up for someone. And in order to do that, you have to understand who you are and what privileges you have to leverage or to mobilize in those situations. And the only way to do that is to do that deep internal work, whether that's with a mentor, whether that's with a coach like me or any sort of coach. Maybe you have a life coach, maybe you have a business coach. That's great. But I fundamentally believe any coach should have foundational life coaching training because it's all life at the end of the day, right? And
Right.
so for me, doing a type of coaching that takes us through kind of life and life design structures through an identity and belonging lens, what I'm attempting to do is to help give people the space to explore those unique identity factors, understand them better, and therefore step into places where they have power to leverage, where they have influence to mobilize, and allow them to feel empowered in that those identity factors are what is needed in that room to create a better space for other people around them. Therefore, opening that space for someone else to affirm belonging in their presence. Therefore, identity and belonging is individual work that then is taken into the collective. We have to separate them in order to truly see an impact going forward and to truly see the impact that diversity and inclusion can have when it is people centered, when it is people impacted, and when it is prioritizing the people in the room rather than hypothetical results that we don't actually know can come to pass in the current structures in which we're functioning.
Wow. This has been a deep dive in 15 minutes. Like, just get after it. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining me today. You have been on Time to Change.
Thank you so much, Jason.